beautiful thing to think that we might have, an end in sight. Um, and when we think about that, I don't know about you, but it makes my heart just do a little of this, just like a little bit of this. Like, okay, the cage can open just a little bit more. Hope is a precarious thing, right? It's difficult to have too much hope because that's a vulnerable place to be. But you got to kind of peek out every once in a while and see that the sun is still shining. So we're going to do some heart opening poses today, mostly to just kind of kickstart the hope a little bit. If you've been weary, which I know you have been, of course you've been weary. Let's try to remember that our bodies can teach us. The bodies can tell the mind. The body can tell the mind, like, no, no, open up a little bit. It's okay. So if your mind's been weary, let's use the body as a tool to open ourselves up. One of the great things about backbending is that you get to decide how far you want to go, right? So it's never something that has to be aggressive or extreme. Whenever you're moving in through the spine in a extreme direction, you want to be super mindful about what you're doing. So awareness and presence is paramount. And whenever we are working to open up the front of our spine, we want to make sure that we are hugging the front of our spine, that we're stabilizing our spine well through our core, so that our low back, which is so vulnerable, doesn't just go into this little compressive state. So remember that through your practice, that there's always ways to support that upward spacious lift in the spine without compressing the back of your body. So go ahead and close your eyes and sit up straight and tall. And take a moment to just check in with yourself. How are you? Are you restful today? Are you busy today? Did you sleep well or not? How has your energy been? Have you been running on, empty fumes, or have you been replenished? And what can you do to use your practice as a way to replenish yourself, to give the gift of nourishment right back inside? And the first possibility of creating that for ourselves is the breath and the presence of being here in the body. So let's find those two things now. Drop in inside yourself, feel what you're feeling. Notice if you've been kind of slumped over or if your breath has been shallow. And let's come into some open space. Feel the spine grow a little bit. See if you can create a lot of cushion between your vertebrae. Can you support the upward lift of the spine without feeling tense in the base of your skull or locked in your shoulder blades? Can your spaciousness be fluid instead of solid? Find your breath. Notice where it easily arrives and where maybe the breath doesn't go very well in the body. Get to know the back of the ribs a bit and let the breath travel into the back of your body. What does it feel like to have your shoulder blades move on the breath? To feel that your rib cage and your shoulder blades are not glued to each other, that there is space and fluidity, glide ability in that space between the ribs and the shoulder blades. And feel how easily, hopefully easily, they can slide while you breathe. Do you push the breath? Is it something that you try to gulp in? See if there can be a little more softness. And then, as a little treat for your nervous system, slowly exhale down a bit. I'm going to start with a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. So take your right hand on your nostrils, the tops of your nostrils, and feel your body first before we start moving. Is the spine long? Can you bow the chin just a bit? Is your elbow relaxed? Is the right shoulder drawing back? Can you relax the face and keep it neutral so you're not tipping your left ear down or turning your head to the right or any weird positions? Stay neutral. And then relax for a moment. Relax the shoulders. And when you're ready, start to breathe. So we're inhaling through the left nostrils, gently sealing off the right. When you're ready, seal off the left and gently breathe out through the right. Inhaling through the right and exhaling through the left. So you're at your own pace. So you breathe out and in the same nostril and then switch. Out, in, switch. Have one eye on the softness of your body, the length of your spine, melting the muscles in your face. Let your pranayama be soft. Try not to pull and push the body or breath. Invite. Just like when someone comes to your door, you don't open the door and yank on their arm, pull them into your house and sit them down and make them stay, right? You open the door and you make space. You welcome them in. Invite them to tea. So do that for your breath. Invite the breath in. Make space. Be patient. Go as slow as your body says to go. And then when you are ready, there's no rush here. And you can do this for a long time, but we have the asana to do. So we're going to end where we began. So breathing out through the nose, left side of the nose, sorry. And then take a moment once you get there. So take your time to get there. Don't rush there. But when you do, just drop your hand and enjoy two nostrils. Enjoy two nostrils. Enjoy the feeling in your skull. Notice the breath traveling through your sinuses. Open space. Calm mind. Open heart. All right, let's place the palms together. Bow in. With this calm space, offer an intention for yourself. What are you working with? What's in your mind, in your body, in your heart that you are working to nourish or let go of? How can your practice help you? All right, let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right, let's go ahead and stretch out on the floor. And just notice your breath here. Come back into that two nostril breath. Of course, we feel the back body when it touches the floor, but now feel the sides of your ribs open. So make room, take your arms away from your sides a bit, out to the side. Enjoy the open chest. Invite deep breath in. Invite the courageous breath. Have the courage to open the heart and be hopeful. And then stretch the arms overhead if it's comfortable. There's always ways to work with shoulders or backs or anywhere in the spine, anything that's difficult to have range of motion in. There's always ways to support yourself, so you don't have to have your arms overhead. Feel the length of your sides, no matter where your arms ended up. And then feel the little back bend that's living here. And let's release our arms down at your sides. Okay, so just for a couple of breaths, let's inhale, arms up overhead to wherever they go, and feel the back bend arrive in the thoracic spine. And then exhale and bring your arms down at your sides and feel the roundedness of the spine. So really check in with the thoracic spine. This is where we want the center of our back bending poses to live, is in the thoracic spine. The lumbar spine naturally extends into a back bend, and we want to protect the low back. So let's give space into our more stable thoracic spine, which has a lot of ribs to help around it. And then go ahead and rest your arms down at your sides. Bring your knees into your chest and go ahead and rock from side to side. Check in. How's your low back today? Do you need to be extra mindful? I think yes is the answer to that question. Let's be extra mindful, even if your back doesn't hurt, to how your spine feels in back bending. Let's circle the knees a few times one direction. Let's circle the knees a few times the other direction. Okay, so just find your way a couple times each direction, and then open your knees up, out, and in. All the while checking in with how the pelvis is moving as you're moving your knees. All right, then let's go ahead and put both feet down onto the ground. Bring your arms out to your side, and let's just do some pelvic tilting. So we're going to scrub our tailbone toward our shoulder blades, so the low back kind of pops up off the floor a little bit. Feel the muscles engage, and then release that and do a pelvic tilt where you're lifting the tailbone and engaging a little bit through the core. Try not to squeeze your tailbone with your glutes when you do this action. Go ahead and find nutation. So tailbone drops into the ground and scrubs up toward your shoulders. And then in posterior tilt of the pelvis, lift the tailbone up. And just notice the warming that's happening in the ligaments and the muscles right around your low back as you go back and forth. And we're just going to add a little bit of awareness of the pelvic floor into this. So as you nutate the sacrum, which just means tailbone's down, top of the sacrum lifts, and we're scrubbing, like pull the tailbone on, move it into the earth and pull it up toward the shoulder. Widen the sit bones, widen the pelvic floor when you do this. And then when you draw the tailbone up, hug the sit bones toward each other, the pelvic floor lifts some. So feel the connection of the pelvic floor to the deep belly. So opening up the belly, arching the back a little bit, anterior tilt to the pelvis, sit bones wide, pelvic floor broad, and then change direction. Sit bones move toward each other, engage the pelvic floor, in and up. And one more time, each direction. Notice if you totally forgot to breathe through this whole experience. A lot of times when we get caught up in trying to feel parts of our bodies, we forget to breathe. And then let's go ahead and relax our body down. Put a teacup on your left knee and let it be kind of a heavy teacup. So there's weight coming down from your knee into your hip joint. Stabilize that teacup. Don't let it tip or spill. Open the right knee out to the right. And then bring the right knee back in, all the while stabilizing the teacup. Now put your teacup on your right knee. Draw the knee into the pelvis and open the left leg out to the side and back in. So we're going back and forth, switching our teacups. Notice if you're forgetting to breathe. Notice if you're taking tension in your neck or shoulders. See what you can do to try to relax and keep the action of this deep in the transverse abdominis in the belly. This is a muscle we want wide awake for back bends, so that when we stabilize the low back, we want to avoid stabilizing it from just tucking our tailbone and squeezing our butt cheeks. We want to stabilize it from this muscle deep in the belly, hugging against our spine. So hopefully your low belly is starting to fatigue a little bit. Are you breathing? All right, then let's relax. Bring your finger pads on, not your tips, but your pads onto your hip bones, the ASIS, so the bony parts right in the front. That's called your ASIS. And then let's go ahead and slide our finger pads in toward the midline so that we're kind of low. Hopefully you don't have a full bladder at the moment. So feel that and sense this deep, low belly. So this is a place where if we just pull our navel to our spine, we often don't engage so well down here. We kind of engage in the upper abdominal muscles. So let's find this. So take a moment, find your breath, and I want you to cough and feel that muscle bounce underneath your hands. That's your transverse abdominis. That's the one we're looking for. So imagine you're
about to cough, but you don't actually cough. That muscle engagement that you feel right underneath your hands, that's the transverse abdominis. So let's hang on to that for a moment. And you should be able to feel this wrapping around. You should have a sensation in the back of your body too, because this muscle is your corset that wraps around you. All right, now let's find this with movement of breath. So relax everything for a minute, or not a whole minute, but just a breath, okay? We're gonna inhale, relax the pelvic floor, relax the transverse abdominis, and as we exhale, draw that coughing muscle into the body, and maybe the pelvic floor lifts too. Be mindful to let your shoulders relax. Inhale, let it all go. Exhale, draw in. The ASIS move toward each other, toward the midline. The pubic bone lifts a little bit toward the belly button. The deep low belly engages. Okay, find it on the breath. Release it on the inhales. Find it on the exhales. Let's try to remember that this muscle doesn't just have to anchor and never move, that it's like any muscle that we can flex and relax, and we can flex and relax. And this is where we get strength more than just a consistent hold. We always hold this muscle, it actually becomes weak. So one more time, try to connect the feeling of that anterior tilt and posterior tilt that we were doing earlier. So a little baby tilt as we inhale. Don't have a big tilt, just relax the pelvic floor. And as we exhale, pelvic floor in, a little bit of a posterior tilt, pubic bone toward belly button, engage the deep core. All right, so hopefully you have found the transverse abdominis a little bit. Let's bring the knees into the chest. The transverse abdominis wraps around from the back of your body all the way around to the front of your body, and it holds your organs in. It's the deepest of your abdominal muscles that are on top of your organs. So, it keeps us hugging our organs to our spine, which is very stabilizing in any action of the spine. Right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor. Roll out your ankles, wiggle around in your toes. Feel what you're feeling. Extend the spine. And then let's switch sides. Left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor. Extend the spine. Feel some movement in your feet. Feel the compression in your hip. And one more time, the other side. Right knee in. One more time, left knee in. Okay, now we're going to start to wake up the psoas a little bit. So arms are going to come out to the side or down, whichever's comfortable for you. Bring your knees toward your chest. This is plan A. I'm going to give you a plan B if this is too much for you. So we're going to tap one toe at a time down onto the floor and pick that knee back up. And then tap the left foot if you started with the right and pick it back up. So just sense, where are you holding yourself stable from? Can you feel the flexion of your hips coming from that deep psoas muscle? If this is too much, you're going to put your feet on the floor, and we're going to lift a knee toward the chest and drop the knee back down, and then switch sides. So see how that feels. We're all going to meet you there. If you're changing to put your feet on the floor, we're all going to meet you there in just a moment. How's your breath? All right, and then everybody relax your feet onto the floor. Find a breath here. See if you can notice if you're awake in your deep hip flexors and your deep abdominal muscles. And now very slowly, we're going to put a teacup on our left knee again. And this time we're going to lift the right knee toward the chest. Super duper slow. Feel the psoas. This is the muscle that's doing this action. Relax the neck and shoulders. Keep breathing. And then we're going to slowly lower the leg down. This is an eccentric contraction of the psoas. Really good for us. Super slow in your movements. And then let's go the other direction. So teacup on the right knee, stabilize into the hip, left leg coming up. Feel the deep. Sense into where the action is coming from in your body to lift the knee. And even more so, you might feel it on the eccentric contraction of the psoas on the way back down, nice and slow. Let's do each side one more time. Teacup on your left knee when the foot drops down. Lift your right knee. Are you breathing? These are really important muscles for helping the spine stabilize in our back bending postures. All right, and then teacup on the right knee. Lifting the left knee up. Feel deeply. Feel the psoas muscles. And then the foot rests down. The last thing we're going to do before we get moving here is we're going to open both knees out to the side, and then we're going to draw both knees in. So this is going to engage both the psoas and the TA simultaneously. So butterfly, we're not letting our knees turn, our feet turn in like Supta Baddha Konasana. Stay stable with your feet on the floor and just open the knees out to the side and bring the knees back in. Super slow. Feel what you're feeling. Make sure you're breathing. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little fatigue in these deep muscles. And it might even feel achy in your back, and that's okay. That means you're working the transverse abdominis all wrapped around you. One more time, knees opening up. Use the deep low belly to draw the knees back in. Okay, let's relax all that. Knees into the chest, rock around a little bit. Notice if you feel tense anywhere in the cylinder of your core. Okay, and then let's go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All fours here. Cat-cows are ready. This is such a beautiful way to move into a back bend, and this can be enough. If you're moving in your practice, but cat-cow is enough. It's enough of a movement pattern to go into extension and flexion. So don't feel like you have to go any deeper than what you can find in cat-cow, no matter what pose we end up doing today. Can you feel this ripple through your whole spine? All right, and then start to move things around. Swirl through your shoulders, move through your hips, any kind of movement that feels really good to you. All right, and then we're going to come down into child's pose and feel the deep flexion of your hips. Walk the hands out in front of you if they're comfortable. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Walk the hands over to the right side of your mat, opening up the ribs. Let's enjoy all that space. Try to feel not just the side window. So it's easy to feel the stretch like right at the edge of your side. See if you can feel those little muscles that connect one vertebrae to the next, the multifidus muscles. See if you can find them opening up on that left side. Then come back to center and walk the hands over to the other side and feel the opening in the side body here. Relax your head, come into the back body breath. Feel those little muscles. See if you can interocept, sense in to those little muscles along your spine, deep in the body. And then come back to center, come up onto all fours. One more time, find the little swirls, little sways. Maybe swish your hips left and right like a fish or a dog wagging its tail. Okay. And then we're going to find a little strengthening for the deep low back muscles, or actually all along your whole spine, not just your low back. Stretch your right leg straight back behind you and your left arm out in front of you. Bird dog pose. When you do this spinal balancing pose, see if you can sense all the muscles along your spine. You've already woken up your core, so feel in, sense into that transverse abdominis hugging your core. Are you able to breathe? Don't worry if your arm can't go out. If your shoulder's not okay with that, just bring your arm out to the side instead. All right, and then we're going to move here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee coming in toward each other. Inhale, bringing it on out. Exhale, bringing it on in. Inhale, bringing it on out. Place your hand and knee down onto the ground. Let's change sides. So of course your glutes are kicking in. That's good. We want our glutes to be awake and alive, but also feel the muscles along your spine. Stabilize through your core. A little inner spiral of your leg in the air. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, finding your breath. And then when we're ready, we're going to draw the elbow and knee underneath you. Inhale and bring it back out. Exhale, draw it on in. Inhale, bring it on out. Place the hand and knee down onto the ground and find your way up to dog pose. So just enjoy. So what's here?
Can you relax your head? Can you feel that sense of inversion? Can you melt a little bit? Is there a place for your face to relax? Is there a way for your breath to extend? Can you hug your hands toward each other to use the muscles along your ribs? So engage your lats, engage your serratus, all those muscles along the rib cage. See if you can hug in by hugging the hands isometrically toward each other on the mat. Try to lose the need for it to all be about your shoulders. Bend your knees as much as you want. Feel the deep length in the spine. All right, let's put our knees back down onto the ground. Walk your hands forward, and we're going to come into puppy pose. So we're dropping our chest toward the floor, but lift onto the armpits so that there's not a lot of tension in the shoulder joints. Find the femur bones moving back. Feel the thoracic spine open. And then come back, dog pose again. Stretch through your spine. Notice second time around if anything feels different. Feel free to pedal your feet, bend your knees, sway, anything that's right for you. Bend your knees as much as you want to in this pose to extend the spine. And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, fold in half, relax your neck, wag your tail, roll your shoulders around. Inhale for a halfway lift. The thigh bones move back. The chest is broad and long. Exhale and release to melt back down again. Let's do that one more time. Inhale for a halfway lift. Lift the sit bones wide. Extend the heart. Exhale and relax. Bend your knees. Push off your feet. Rise up, reaching the arms. If they go there, up to the sky. Open across your chest. Spread out your wings. Exhale and round the spine. Feel the shoulder blades protract away from each other. One more time. Open the chest. Cactus arms. Exhale and round in. Just feeling the movement. Inhale, lift your arms up. Little teeny bit of a back bend with your arms up if your arms are there. Exhale and fold forward. Relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. The thighs are moving back. Sit bones widen. Exhale and relax back down. Step your left foot back. Right foot comes forward. Finding a lunge on this side. Extending the heart. Breathing deeply. Place your back knee down onto the floor. Feel your psoas stretch here in that back leg. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other so there's a little flex within the stretch of your psoas. Bring both arms up to the sky or anywhere that's serving you. Deep breaths here. Relax the shoulders. Start to feel, now that we're getting upright, feel the open heart. What's here and available for you to stay hopeful and open? Do you have the courage to open the heart a bit? Bring your arms out to the sides. Flip your palms up toward the sky. Roll the shoulders down. Find the breath. Now turn your fingertips toward the floor. Just stretch through your forearms. And then come back up. Bring your elbow or forearm to the outer knee or to the top of the knee and stretch a little bit more in your psoas. Breathe well. Drop the shoulders down. Open across the collarbones. Bring your hands down onto the floor. Okay. Walk the back foot forward. Fold in half here. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Stick a block between your thighs. Chair pose, when your arms are above your head, inherently has a back bend living in the thoracic spine. So see if you can feel the muscles along your back holding you. And if you can't have your arms up over your head, try bringing them out to the side, but still get that feeling that the back body has to work a bit for this pose. Is your low back curve neutral? So feel it in your own body. Are you hyper extended in the back? Are you rounded in the back? See if you can move your pelvis just to the right place where there's a neutral curve in your lumbar spine. Once you have that, use the block to help you find that deep core. Breathe well here. All right, stand up straight and tall. Exhale and melt. Take the block out of there. Step your right foot flat back and your left foot is now forward. Extend the heart, reaching through the spine. Taking some deep breaths. Let's place our knee down onto the ground. Feel the psoas stretch. Rise up a little bit. See if you can prevent yourself from falling and living in the hammock of your tendons and ligaments. Instead, hug your front heel and back knee toward each other to support the upward movement of your spine. Notice how different it feels. So fall into the pose, no muscular engagement. Notice your low back, and then hug and feel the difference in the space in your low back. Reach the arms up, extend through the spine. Deep breaths, slide the shoulder blades down. So remember, they have a lot of slide glide. They're not glued. Your arms don't have to be, your shoulders don't have to be glued to your ears. Your shoulder blades don't have to be glued to your back. Bring the elbow or forearm to the knee, and a little twist in there will stretch that psoas even more, still hugging through front heel and back knee toward each other. Breathe. Relax the shoulders. Okay, let's go ahead and reach our hands down onto the ground. This time we're going to come all the way to the floor. Lie down on your belly. Most of you have done this with me before, so just in case, let's do this again. Find yourself resting down. Have your hands pancaked on top of each other and rest your forehead on your hands so your nose has a little spot. And we're going to forget about our core. So the psoas and the TA, just relax everything and lift your right leg where you can go. And notice it's high, but there's a lot of compression in the lumbar spine. This is what we want to avoid. So lower that leg back down, stabilize through, find your teacups, so knees into hips. Find that cough muscle. See what access, whatever's going to help you access your psoas and your transverse abdominis. Now, with that engagement, lift your leg with your glutes without losing your core. So you will not go nearly as far, but you're way more stable through your lumbar spine. And it's actually a lot more work. And then let's go ahead and relax. Try it with the second side. No core, nothing. Just let your core relax, belly soft into the floor, and lift the leg up. And notice the compression in your lumbar spine. Lower that leg down. Reconnect. Teacups into the hips. Cough muscle engaged. ASIS moving toward the midline, pelvic floor, everything you can find that we've done earlier. Let's go ahead and find that on your exhales. Find it. And see what you can do to lift the left leg up. Use your glutes. So we have active glutes in a back bend, but they're not overpowering the core. Lengthen through the spine. How's your breath? All right, and then relax and come back down. Now, it's harder with the torso moving than with the legs moving. So pick up your feet and rock a little bit, just release that. And now we're gonna come into a cobra pose, and let's see if we can stay stable. Using the glutes, using the TA, using the psoas, as you lift now and open up the spine this way. Shoulders down, and then exhale and melt back down. Can you find your cough muscle? Can you find the hip bones moving toward each other? Is the pelvic floor engaged? Can you find all of that and lift yourself up and have a stretch flex simultaneously? How does your back feel? And melt to come back down. Come back up onto all fours. Wiggle around, sway. Anything that feels good to release the back. Let's go ahead and find our way into dog pose. Extend through the spine. Enjoy the openness in the back of the legs, the hamstrings and the glutes. Breathe. Fill up your breath, empty out your breath. Let the breath be so spacious. Nothing has to really be working hard in the center, in your belly in this pose. It can be relaxed. There's a hollowing that often happens. Lift your right leg up in the air. Stack your right hip over the left. Try not to sink into the left armpit. Lift under the armpit. Reach that leg in the air. And then square the hips. Stretch that leg back. Left hip high and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, bring that foot forward. Come to a lunge. Crescent lunge, arms lifting to the sky. The psoas is awake and open. And see what it feels like here to have those same actions protecting our lumbar spine. So for a minute, give way and just feel how easy it is to collapse into the lumbar spine. And then find it again. Pubic bone lifting toward belly button. That deep cough muscle, the two hip bones are moving toward each other. The pelvic floor is lifting a little bit. The glutes in the back leg are working. Even the glutes in the front leg, press the heel down. Find your breath. Relax the shoulders. If arms overhead make your shoulders all jacked up, do something different. Great, and then relax your hands. Hop up into a half splits and reach that leg in the air. Find your breath. Place your foot down onto the ground. Back to dog pose. Extending through the spine. Lift the left leg up in the air. Stack the left hip over the right. Notice if your right shoulder wants to slide toward the floor. Lift under your right armpit. Extend through your heel in the air. Then when you're ready, square up the hips. Inner spiral that thigh. Stretch to the foot. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it on back. Exhale, knee to nose, and then place the foot down. Take your time, finding your way up to crescent lunge. You can take the left foot out to the left as much as you need to. Bring your arms in a happy place. So what's going to make your shoulders not glue to your ears? So maybe a different position in your arms is necessary for you to lose the need to have our traps do everything for us. They're such happy muscles to just, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. Let the traps take the back seat. Stretch through the back heel, open up that psoas in the back leg, feel your glutes engage, feel the core. Can you hug your teacups into the pelvis? Maybe have a cough. Can you feel the beginning of that cough? I hesitate to have you do that when we're standing because it can often create tension in the upper belly, but just see what you can do to access those deep low fibers. All right, and then relax. Hands down onto the floor, half splits here. Extend through the spine. The glutes are turned on. And then exhale and place your foot down next to your other foot. Bend your knees. Relax your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your left foot back. You're a one. Place the heel down. So now with our heel down, our hips can't align quite the same as in crescent lunge. So it's even more torque on the back. So when we come up, you can lean forward a little bit to help you find the core and the neutral back. Find that first, and then as you come up, make the back bend in your thoracic spine instead of sinking and dipping into your lumbar spine. Lift pubic bone toward your navel. Root your back heel into the ground. Feel the length of your spine that comes from that action. The glutes are working along with the deep core. Okay. Relax, place the hands down, walk your back foot forward. Fold a little bit, halfway lift. Step your other foot back. Left foot is forward, right heel is down now. So the hips don't come all the way square. Can you root into that back heel without hyperextending the knee? Can you plug your teacups into your hip bones? Find what you can find in your core. Lean forward a little bit if it helps you to access the belly, if it helps you to access the pelvic floor, if it helps you to not overarch the lumbar spine. Find the thoracic spine. Use the muscles in your back to help you open through your thorax. Breathe deeply, open the chest. Place the hands down onto the ground, back to a plank you go. Hold steady here. Find that deep center. Breathe in, let it go a little bit. Breathe out, hug into the core. Place your knees down onto the ground and release your arms. Take your arms down at your sides or out or up. You decide where you want to be in space. If your shoulders are unhappy, try your arms down. There's lots of back bending to be done without your arms overhead. Take a breath and lift everything up now. So with all of our back muscles working, our glutes and our hamstrings working, can you balance that effort with the psoas having a flex stretch and the deep transverse abdominis working for you? Use your exhales to help you find it a little bit more. right, let's go ahead and relax. Turn your head to one side or the other and windshield wiper your knees. Deep breaths here. Come on up onto all fours, a little swirl in the spine. Okay, you get to decide for this next one how deep you go. You can, I think we did this yesterday. We can stand up on our right foot and grab onto our left foot to stretch our quad, or you can come into a lunge with your right foot forward, your left knee on the back, on the floor behind you, your left hand on the ground, and reach back with your right hand to grab your foot. Okay. So either one of these poses, you can always wrap a strap around your foot, or you can just bypass the whole thing and stand up. So we're just trying to access our hip flexors and our quads, opening things up. A lot of times, you know, in yoga, there's so much forward bending. We do dog pose, we do uttanasana, we stretch our hamstrings a lot, but we don't always take a little time to stretch our quads. So let's enjoy. I hope you enjoy, even if it's not enjoyable, try to enjoy the not enjoyableness of it, okay? Because it's intense sometimes to stretch the quadriceps. All right, and then let's relax and come out of there. Back onto all fours. Feel free to move from side to side, swish around your tail. Imagine you had an actual tail, like a cat or a dog. Wag your tail. Find your breath. Let's come to the other side. So now our left foot is forward, our right knee is back on the ground, or we're standing up on our, doing the other side, so stretch your knee. So our left hand is in the air, right hand on the floor, reach back and grab your foot or use a strap. Once you're here, same thing applies. We don't want to splay out and overarch the back. Hug in. Imagine you still have that block between your thighs to hug against. See if you can use the core pubic bone lifting toward the belly button. The deep low fibers of the transverse abdominis. See if you can find them. How's your breath? So much of the time when we work with these deep muscles in the body, we have to search hard for them. And so we hold our breath if we're concentrating. So make sure you're breathing steadily. Slide the shoulder blades down. Feel how there's some slide glide in your shoulder blades. All right, let's go ahead and release whatever pose you're doing and come down onto all fours again. One more happy tail swish. Okay, so any movement really in your spine, cat cow, swish side to side, some circles, any movement to kind of free things up. So the last back bend we're going to do before we start releasing our spine from the back bending is, I'll give you two choices. So if you're able to be on your belly for Dhanurasana, we'll do that. And if not, you can do bridge pose instead. So Dhanurasana is on your belly. We're going to reach back and grab our feet. The knees tend to want to splay out, so we're going to keep them tucked in. Now the tendency in this pose is to squeeze your butt cheeks toward each other. So let's try to engage the core. Of course, the glutes are going to work. You cannot do a back bend without your glutes there for you. But they're so strong and they like to take over. So let's try to remember the core along with the glutes as we lift ourselves up. And if you're in bridge pose, same thing applies. You're going to lift your pelvis, trying to activate all of your muscles instead of just relying on your glutes. Breathe while you're here. Open the chest. Keep the back of the neck long and free. Try to stabilize the lumbar spine on your exhales with your core. Feel the thoracic spine. Do the majority of the bending. This is the open heart. And then relax and melt. If you're on your belly, swish side to side with your feet. If you're on your back, swish side to side with your knees. Head back up onto all fours. Let's have a moment. Last time we'll do some tail wagging, some swishing. Just nourish the spine. So, have some freedom of movement. And then we're going to come on to our back.
Bend your knees for a moment and just focus on the spine spreading out into elongation. We're going to put our right foot over top our left foot and come into reverse pigeon pose. So whenever we do some deep back bending, we want sometimes before deep forward bending, we want to have some more neutralizing poses. So just elongating the spine can be very helpful, as well as opening the hips a little bit, stretching the glutes first, and then getting into the spine itself. So let the spine be very neutral on the floor. Feel your breath elongate the spine as you welcome the visitor of a hip stretch in. How much space can you make for your hip? Is it easier now to find the rhythm of slow, steady breathing? All right, let's relax. 2 feet on the floor. Now let's put our left foot on top of our right foot. Now, you can always put your foot on a piece of furniture instead of grabbing on behind your legs. So you can decide to do that if you want. If there's, if you need a little bit more ease to help your back and neck and shoulders, with your foot on a piece of furniture, you don't have to use your arms at all. All right, so enjoy. Open the door for your hip. Invite the guest in. Lots of room. All right, let's go ahead and release that onto the floor. Put your feet on the ground. Enjoy the neutral spine. Let's pick up the hips, scooch them to the right, knees up, drop them left. Gentle twists is another way that we can neutralize the spine after back bending before forward bending. So when you go to an extreme position of the spine, you don't want to go to the opposite extreme position right away. So if you're back bending, you don't want to go deeply into a forward fold right away. You want some neutralizing poses in between, like we're doing with the reverse pigeon and a simple twist. Full breaths. And then inhale and lift the knees. And let's scooch the hips over to the left, knees up and drop them right. Deep breaths here. All right, and then bring your knees back up. You need a block for this one, so make sure you have a handy block. We're going to cross the left thigh over the right thigh. And we're going to scooch our hips to the right. And we're going to drop our knees to the left. Okay, so coming into a twist with your left foot on the outside of your right knee or somewhere thereabouts. Put a block underneath your knee so it's a healthy twist. Don't go too far. And just hopefully you feel a little bit of stretch across the rim of your pelvis. It's very difficult to stretch the transverse abdominis. Really the best way to stretch it is to just take deep inhales because it broadens out on the inhales. But this will kind of get some of those fibers along the edges of the pelvis. All right, and then come back up, unwind the legs. Feet flat on the ground for a moment. Before you go to the other side, just take a moment to breathe. Elongate the spine. And then we're going to cross the right thigh over the left. Scooch hips to the left. Right, the block comes over to the right side to rest either your left knee or your right knee or wherever wants to rest on that block. Go ahead and take it and adjust where your shin or ankle or foot lands on your outer knee or thigh. Now, I feel this very differently one side to the other side, so maybe you do too. I don't know, maybe you feel balanced. But see if you can take some deep breaths. Let the inhales come in fully. Hopefully you feel a little bit of stretch along the hip bone, the pelvis, I mean, not your hip joint. The hip bone, like what is the hip bone? You have your pelvis and you have your femur bone. So you should feel this across the top of the pelvis, the pelvic rim. All right, and then let's come out of there. Grab your strap, 2 feet in the strap. Okay, so we're bringing the strap up. We're getting closer to a forward fold. So just sense in, move your femur bones away, elongate the spine. Feel a neutral lumbar curve. Stretch up through the feet and down through the hips. Soften the knees. All right, and then we're going to take our knees out of that strap, and now we get to bring them in toward our chest. So start with a little rocking, knees toward the chest, relax the shoulders. If you want to pick up your head and have a little breath out, squeeze, you can do that. And now we're going to find happy baby pose. So hold your feet in your hands, knees come to the outer ribs. Feel free to rock left and right. Feel free to move your pelvis a little bit, kind of a little posterior and anterior tilt, whatever feels good. Feel the compression in your hips. All right, and then feet onto the ground. When we come into Shavasana, this is a good day to support underneath your knees. So if you usually lay straight, that's fine. I mean, there's no reason not to lay straight, but if your low back is a little vulnerable, I would suggest if you don't have a bolster, you can take 2 blocks long, have them long next to each other so they create a little ledge, and then put a block on top of that, and that can be for underneath your knees for Shavasana. If you happen to be in a space where you have a couch, you can put your calves up on the couch or a chair or a bed if your bed is low enough. So whatever works. Okay, so as you find Shavasana, if you have sandbags in your stash of things, you can put a sandbag on your low pelvis to kind of nourish the lumbar spine. You can imagine some weight coming down onto the low pelvis. So whatever you're doing, try to rest your spine now into neutral. Enjoy the opening that you've just created. Can you feel that the heart is spacious? Have you lost just a little bit of that hunched over posture that we all take at certain points in the day? Can you melt the arm bones and the shoulder blades and feel your collarbones spread and enjoy their spread? Just let them drop into a spreading out position. Find the chest and relax your ribs, relax your sternum. Allow your breath to come in deeply, filling your lungs and letting your belly and your side bodies expand. And as you exhale, let everything melt. Check in with the base of your skull and your face and make sure all the little hidden pockets are resting.
and soft. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Let's begin to deepen our breathing again. And before you move, let's just enjoy the sense of opening the heart. Even here, just lying on the floor, can you melt into an open heart? What does it take to release some of the wrappings, the bindings of protection, to let hope fly free just a little bit? And start to move, stretching the body. Let's find our way into any movement that awakens you again, brings you forth into the day. As you come onto your side for a moment, breathe into the back of your body too. And then go ahead and use your arms to help set yourself upright again. Can you feel as you sit upright that your front can support your back? That using just a teeny bit of your core, just a little bit, doesn't have to be huge, can help you be free in your chest, supporting the capacity to open your chest, open your collarbones, throw your shoulders back away from their self-protection. Feel your crown lift, a sense of open heart facing the world. And offer this open heart share. Send your heart to someone who needs a little courage, a little support. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Blessings on the day.